All right, guys, thank you for joining me again. So, yeah, this is going to be pretty short. Maybe. I don't know. Whatever. We'll just go with the flow. But, again, thank you for joining me and dealing with my bullshit, as per usual. Mike, thank you for being in here today. Finley the dog. Patrice, thank you for the 5x5. Josh, Joe, Maria, thank you for the 5x5. F you all. Sarita, Blackfoot, Laura, Bill, Eric, Water Tiger, Patty, Dobie, Bush Pig, Okie Khan, Christian, Troll, Truthful Troll, thank you for the 5x5. Akita, Ozark, Henry, Simpler, thank you for the 24 by 24, 2024 by 2024. McBean, thank you for the 5x5. Melissa, Celine, Jennifer, Whistling, Freedom, thank you for the 5x5. Thank you for the 7x7. John, the Roman Patriot, Adriana, Spotted Fawn, thank you for the 5x5. All right, so we got the usual players on. Very good. And Joe No More, Jay No More, thank you for the 5x5. Grateful, thank you for the American Flag by American Flag. Lisa and John, thank you for the 5x5. If I haven't said that already. All right, so let's hop to it. Harold, thank you for the 5x5. So, guys, how bad is next year's election going to get? That's what we're talking about tonight. And apparently, I want to, well, not apparently, I want to address something really quick. I noticed something that happened. So anybody who spoke for Trump, supporting Trump, we're talking about hate speech real quick. Somebody who was supporting Trump last year, or during the election years, they were hit with hate speech. Make America Great Again became like a hate speech slogan. You went into certain restaurants. There was even an airline stewardess that got somebody kicked off a plane. A black guy at that got kicked up off the plane because he had a Make America Great Again hat on. Restaurants weren't serving people because they had Trump 20, whatever the fuck it was when he ran. And we had colleges getting kids expelled because they supported Trump. Now we have the ultimate hate speech going on for Jews, against Jews rather, and nothing's being done about it. And colleges are in fact saying that it's their God-given free speech to say something. But when you were supporting Trump, you were getting hit with hate speech violations, left and right. So I had to address that because my buddy and I were talking about it earlier, and we just found it interesting that you could talk about Jews now, and they're talking about free speech. When people are sitting there saying, well, it's their time, it's coming to an end, and yada, 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 that's hate speechy. Do I think it's going to cause an act of violence? It can, if it builds up, if the rhetoric builds up behind it. Anything, guys, when it goes unchecked, can build up to violence. That being said, when people are checked, like Susan Sarandon was, remember she made, and her speech, I had to say, didn't sound anti-Semitic. It just sounded like she was supporting Palestine as a country. She didn't side with Hamas, because I listened to her speech, but nonetheless, she spit in the faces of those that pay her. And she got a tongue lashing, and she was forced, not that she was forced to, she apologized out of the kindness of her heart. Because she doesn't have to be forced to apologize. She's rich. She's famous. But her acting agency, or her agency, dumped her, and she apologized for it. There needs to be more of that. Now, listen, you want to support Palestine, I get it. You want to support Israel, fine. We cannot start calling shit hate speech because you support Palestine. Because there are people that say they support Palestine, but not Hamas's actions, and somehow they're still being treated as the enemy. Now, again, guys, if you're going to support free speech, you got to support all of it. We can't pick and choose when we want to support free speech. But when people support countries like Palestine on a false ideology, That's where I take issue, because it's all bullshit. For whatever reason you're supporting either side, it's all bullshit. These are two warmongering, hungry assholes who are just looking for a fight. That's what it's coming down to. Anyway, I wanted to address that because I'm watching people, colleges, say, well, our students could say what they want to say because we believe in free speech. Keep in mind, there were colleges that were getting rid of students because they voted for Trump or supported Trump. Hell, even on YouTube, you got demonetized for supporting Trump. Right? Anyway, how bad will it get next year? Well, Biden is supposedly doomed next year. And one of the reasons is a lot of people are not voting for him. Now, there are people that are saying they're not going to vote for Trump either, but Biden's not getting a vote. In fact, there are a bunch of kids, less than half of young Americans are not going to vote for 2024. So they're not voting for either Trump or Biden. But that's okay. Because for every vote Biden loses, Trump is not going to gain it, but he's going to stay where he is, which is in the lead right now. So Trump is in the lead. Biden's losing support. Doesn't matter if they switch over or not. If they switch over, that gives Trump more leeway. But if they don't, that keeps Trump here and that keeps Biden here, right? So if this is Trump and this is Biden, if people switch over votes from Biden to Trump, Trump grows. But if they don't switch over to Trump and they just don't want to vote for Biden, Trump still stays here. So regardless, Trump is going to stay ahead. So as it is right now, Trump is in the lead. Now, just how dire is President Biden's poll numbers looking for Democrats? The president is currently registering at a 38.9% approval rating on average. He is trailing Donald Trump in national polls by 2%. He's behind by 2%, sorry. And he is also trailing Trump in 5 of the 6 key electoral college swing states. If we take all of this at face value, the natural conclusion is that Biden's re-election bid is in deep shit. It says trouble. Indeed, that he is currently on track to lose to likely Republican nominee Donald Trump. So now, Democrats and political commentators are embroiled in a fierce debate about whether to take them at face value and about how much panic about Biden is currently called for. They've been panicking about this motherfucker when he started worrying about ice cream and walking off the stage. They're like, we can't have this guy represent us. No way. Listen, there are Democrats that are done with Biden because they looked at Biden and said Biden's too old. Biden can't do this anymore. We all know that. We knew that when he first made headway into the. We all knew that when he made headway into the presidency that he couldn't run. When he was hiding in the fucking basement during Mr. 19. All right, there was no way, but somehow it happened. All right. So now Democrats So likely nearly every new president, Biden started out with far more American approval than disapproval for his job performance. Wait, like nearly every president, Biden started out, all right, with a higher approval rating. All right. Due to what is known as the honeymoon period, a honeymoon phase, but is now the latter half of the first year in office amid the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan, rising inflation, and 2 resurgence of the pandemic. I didn't even know there was 2 of them, but whatever. His approval ratings plunged. In 2 years since it has not recovered. Indeed, Biden's number has been remarkably stable since the end of 2021. Bullshit, it dropped more early last month, sorry. 538's polling average has shown between 38% and 43% of polls respondent approving. But by the same metrics, the recent president who won re-election has also approval in the high 40s and in above their election year. Polls pitting Biden against Trump also look grim for the president right now. Real Clear Politics is a polling agency. Averages clearly shows Biden trailing Trump by 2 points nationally and about 2 points in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and by 4 to 5 points in Nevada, Georgia, and Arizona. Biden is only leading in one swing state, Wisconsin, with 1 point. Wisconsin? That don't make any sense. Anyway, as you can see, guys, Biden's in deep shit. Now, for him to win this now, we all know why he would win it. It would be a miracle, like, and not a miracle, but the other miracle, the miracle that had him win the first time, that kind of a miracle. So, less than half young Americans plan to vote in 2024. Harvard poll finds. Now, listen. Take anything Harvard says with a grain of salt these days. They have a new course for, the hell's her name? Taylor Swift. Harvard has a Taylor. I have to look this up because I couldn't believe this shit. I'm like, and of course it's run by a liberal, but the Harvard professor prepares to teach a new subject for Taylor Swift. It's called the Taylor Swift and Her World course. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I thought that was the name of her tour. But anyway, that's the name of at Harvard University. Harvard University, an elite college, has a Taylor Swift and Her World course. That course, undoubtedly, because the kids are retarded, are going to sell out. So take what Harvard says with a grain of salt. Anyway, after record youth turnout in 2020 election, fewer Americans ages 18 to 29 plan to vote in the 2024, in part due to a widespread dissatisfaction with both President Joe Biden and his likely challenger, former Donald Trump, according to a new poll of young Americans by Harvard Institute of Politics. Compared to the same period in 2020 election cycle, young Americans definitely planning to vote in the next presidential election dropped 8 percentage points, from 57 to 49. The U.S. Census Bureau estimates 54.1% of 18 to 29-year-olds voted in 2020, which had the highest youth turnout overall of any election in the 21st century. Another 17% said they will probably vote, and another 14% said there's a 50-50% chance. What they're not saying is that a lot of these young kids who are going to vote are switching to vote for Donald Trump. So again, guys, with all of this, with everything I'm reading now, Trump is going to win. Not that he might win, not that there's a possibility that he won't win. He is going to win. Everything is saying he is going to win, without hands down. So the only way he doesn't win is if we have a repeat of the 2020 elections, and some crazy pandemic happens, and Biden goes into a lockdown mode. That's the only way that's going to happen. That's why I think next year is going to be a fucking horrendously exciting year. And yes, I said horrendously exciting in the same breath, because I wholeheartedly believe shit's going to get out of control. We're going to see a lot of infighting. We're definitely going to see shit thrown at people and name calling and all liberals crying in the middle of the street for no reason. Fucking dying of thirst over here. Like, really thirsty. So, a lot of voters, guys, are switching over to him. They also think that if he gets elected, if Trump gets elected, that he's going to get us out of the war over in the Middle East. Right now, it seems like Biden's trying to start some shit with this little tit for tat that they're going on with the Houthis, right? I said that right? This tit for tat that's going on with them right now. If Trump steps in, he's going to squash all of this shit. And I think he might. He just might. I just hope if he does, he doesn't sell us the fuck out. But we shall see. Now, this article, if Trump wins, more voters foresee better finances and staying out of war. With the view of things in America continuing to be bad and now hitting their most negative marks of the year, one might expect an incumbent president to trail in a pre-election poll as Joe Biden has done in this one. But that's only half the story. The other half is Donald Trump holds distant advantage in his own right when voters look forward. Voters might think they'd be better off with financially if Trump wins 2024. More voters think if Trump wins, he can keep us out of the next war. Again, which is the war that Biden is sort of starting, but not really. Was sort of in, but not wholeheartedly in. Looking overseas, Democrats aren't as sure about Mr. Biden avoiding an overseas war as Republicans are about Trump doing so. And then more directly, Democrats are just less apt to say they'll vote for Trump. Sorry. Granted, if it's far off, but it does speak to the challenges of Mr. Biden as in front of him 1 year out from the election day. So they don't have any hope for fucking Biden. They think Biden is toast. We know Biden is toast. We don't think he is. He's done. Um, Again, watching the same patterns, him walk off the stage, not answering questions, especially pertaining to his son and the investigation that is heating up again just in time for the election, which is making his chances of winning even less likelier. These partisans may be reading the polls too. Mr. Biden's backers react to the idea of a rematch by mainly saying they're nervous and frustrated, and Trump says they're hopeful and motivated. Very nice. Plus, as ever in American politics, views on race continue to play a role. The race thing, guys, it keeps coming up because people are perpetually keeping it going. They want this race conversation to keep going. Race was fucking okay until Obama got into office. And I have to blame both sides, white and black. White people didn't want to vote for Obama because he was black. Some people didn't want to vote for him because he was inexperienced. I didn't vote for him because he was inexperienced. But that started the whole race thing. And then when you had when you had Biden, my God, Obama backing BLM, he set the pace for the race war in the United States. You don't side. You're supposed to be neutral as hell. As a president, I don't care if you were the president of the United States and there was a Black Panther Party for Self-Defense and Huey Newton and Bobby Seale were running it. You don't sit there and side with them. You're for the American people. You stay neutral in that fence, in that case. You don't pick a side. If you were going to pick a side, you stay neutral. Sorry. If you had, stay neutral. Don't give it any sides. Don't be like, fuck them, I don't like them. Don't be like, I love them, they're doing the right thing. Stay neutral. That's how you ought to be a president of the United States. You don't pick a side with any seemingly terrorist organization, because BLM was just that. BLM was a terrorist organization that terrorized cities throughout this country. No one recognized them as such. Certain people did. But when you had people yelling in the bullhorn microphone, setting shit on Twitter, we're going to meet in this city and we're going to protest. And then the protest turned into a riot, that's a terrorist organization. They used the old Trojan horse. We're going to peacefully protest and then burn the city to the ground. The Terry Shiver case, I didn't hear anything about that. I heard about it, but I didn't read about it. Sorry, Melissa. I heard about it, but I didn't read into it. And I should have, and probably I will now. Henry, let's not get crazy. No Alex Jones for president. We can't have that fucking. I do not like Alex Jones. I can't stand that fucking man. I've been watching him for years. I try to listen to what he says, but the guy fucking gets overly emotional. He's an overly emotional sack of shit. I've never seen anybody talk about shit and start screaming and crying. You're a grown fucking man who has the ear of millions of Americans. Be a fucking man, act like a man, and talk like a man. Don't start screaming, yelling, and flipping shit and carrying on and acting like an asshole. Like, that's the shit I can't stand. I really can't. It's just, it's an, like, Alex Jones, I just don't like him. I try to listen to him, and I'm like, he's making some good points. And then he starts screaming. I'm like, oh! And then I turn him off. You know, I'm like, oh, there it goes. Yo, you're going to fucking talk. If this, especially if you're going to be on the world stage, you got to have some kind of fucking, you know. Carl says Jones is an actor. I don't know. I've seen him on different interviews carrying that act on. It's not fucking appealing. It really isn't. Angry Truth just popped up at 10:30. That's weird. He says the Angry Truth just popped up. Angry Truth at 10:30. You've been on for 20 minutes. Yeah, I've been on since 2010. 10:10. Sorry. But Alex Jones, yes, he is a decade ahead of everybody else. But yo, you get more people to listen to you if you speak at a more authoritative, low tone. That's how you get more people. Yeah, man, I'm definitely into camping, Mike. If you're headed in January, I'm definitely out there. I need to get the fuck out of the city. But listen, you get more listeners if you keep your wits about you. Watching him cry and carrying on, like one video he started crying, I had to turn it off. I can't watch a grown man fucking cry about everything. It's like he lost his cookies and he started crying. Like, come on, man, you know? Like I can't listen to that guy. And when he makes good points, I'm like, good point. And he starts screaming, I'm like, no, I'm done. You know? Like I said, I like what he has to say. I just can't listen to him fucking screaming and crying. Feed that man a cookie and watch his fucking levels come down. Anyway, with that being said, I went over my 20-minute mark. I'm gonna go off the air now. I gotta get ready for work. Didn't want to go into work tomorrow. When overtime calls, you answer. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me. Thank you for dealing with my bullshit. Thank you for following me. I appreciate it as always, guys. I will see you guys Friday night. If I'm feeling better, if this cough gets worse, I will not be on the air Friday. But other than that, guys, thank you for joining me. Thank you for dealing with me, and I will see you guys Friday.